Unraveled. This is Marvi Sirmed. Yesterday, Pakistan's Army Chief General Asim Munir, strike that Field Marshal Asif Munir now, appeared in Tampa, Florida, officially to attend the ceremony marking the retirement of U.S. CENTCOM Commander General Michael Kurela and the change of command ceremony installing Admiral Brad Cooper. Now, Field Marshal Asim Munir also met the U.S. Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Kane. Pakistan military's media wing, the Inter-Services Public Relations ISPR, confirmed these ceremonial events and the themes. They also confirmed the themes discussed during these meetings, which were counterterrorism cooperation, regional stability, and nuclear security in South Asia. The US Joint Chiefs readout also matches this. Nothing more, nothing less. But what happened later that evening at a black tie dinner with the Pakistani diaspora is what has dominated headlines in India and reported far more, I should say, grudgingly in Pakistan. According to Dawn, Pakistan's top most English language daily newspaper, so Dawn's Washington correspondent, Mr. Anwar Iqbal, Field Marshal Munir told his audience that Pakistan would, quote unquote, destroy any controversial dam India might build to choke the Indus River. He called Kashmir an unfinished international agenda. He then went on to accuse India's RAW, RNAW, Research and Analysis Wing, which is like equivalent to America's CIA, of running transnational terrorism, and finally thanked President Donald Trump for helping avert war in May this year. Now, rubbing India the wrong way once again. Important to note that these remarks were reported by Dawn, while no journalists were either present there in during in the events in this particular dinner or briefed by officials. ISPR has also not released any transcript to confirm the reports verbatim, the reports which are appearing in Indian media mainly. India's Ministry of External Affairs has quickly issued a statement calling Field Marshal Munir's comments, the one being, being reported in Indian media, not verified by official sources from Pakistan, never verified, never endorsed. So India's Minister of External Affairs is calling those reported comments as nuclear cyber rattling, as Pakistan's stock in trade and regrettable. Now, these are the words used in the MEA's statement. I'm quoting directly from there. Especially because they were made, now the statement says, especially these are regrettable remarks, especially because they were made on the soil of what India calls a friendly third country, meaning the United States. Well, jury is still out on how friendly this third country is to India as we speak. From there, the Indian media ran with it. The story broke with my friend, my very dear friend Praveen Swami's vlog on the print YouTube channel with some, intimate details about the dinner, what was served, what was eaten, what was not eaten, what was said, etc. While all this while, no journalist was present. I must remind you again and again, no journalist was present in the event. So the story was mainly based on hearsay. Times of India headlined, government slams Asim Munir for nuke threat. Now, the nuke threat that we don't know if ever came in those words or came at all. Times of India also cited media reports claiming Field Marshal Munir said Pakistan could bring half the world down. Really. No primary source was provided for that phrase. None. Zero. Now, Indian Express and actually New Indian Express and Economic Times both very credible, considered to be credible news outlets carried similar stories, similar headlines, combining MEA statement with secondary quotes attributed to Field Marshal Ayub, Field Marshal Munir in Tampa. Again, without releasing any audio, any transcript, naming any source. TV networks like India Today packaged it into video segments branded MEA slams Asim Munir, recycling the same secondary quotes. In Pakistan, the spread was telling. Outlets like Geo News and the Express Tribune stuck closely to the ISPR press release, focusing on mainly the ceremonial events, the meetings, the vague references to diaspora engagement. Dawn, on the other hand, stood out by actually reporting the dinner remarks in detail alongside photographs sourced from Radio Pakistan. Foreign Office in Islamabad later accused India's MEA of twisting Field Marshal Munir's comments. So, to unravel all of this and to know what actually happened, how it was reported, how should have been reported, we have invited a very special guest today, and that is the actual person who made that report, who wrote that report for Dawn. Mr. Anwar Iqbal, thank you very much and very warm welcome to you, Anwar Saab. This is your first time.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Marvi. Well,
We want to hear from you. What happened? How did you report? And what is wrong with how it is being reported?
First of all, nobody did first-hand reporting because no journalists were invited. Okay. There were like about 130 people, all of them prominent Pakistanis from across the United States. There were all types of, the embassy tried to invite those who were at least, if not pro-government, at least were not anti-government. But there were others too who sympathize with the PTI but are prominent. There are those who sympathize with the PPP or PMLN. They were there too, and I spoke to 5 of them, and one of them was Babar Wari Saab. He, as you know, he's an MQM leader, and it was very surprising for me because you remember he was once declared, was convicted of certain allegations, and he was sort of until recently, or rather, I think he's still not allowed to return to Pakistan. He's still on their blacklist. So inviting him was another important thing for me. That's why I wanted to talk to him. So I spoke to him, and there was one remark. There was one part of the report by Mr. Swami, I think, which said that when Babar Wari asked something about Pakistani politics, the general said that as the former British Prime Minister Churchill said, that war is too serious a business to be left alone to generals. So I say that politics is too serious a business to be left alone to politicians. So I asked Babar, and he said, no, I never asked a question. But Asim Munir Saab did make those remarks in his speech, not responding to my question. And then I asked him about these nuclear thing. According to him, Babar Wari said that he never used the word nuclear or we will nuke or we'll blow up half of the world. He did. He said and then of course I spoke to other people who were mostly. I tried to reach out to those who didn't have any political affiliations, and they said that what he said was that if India tries to choke the flow of Indus, and if they build a dam on the Indus, I will use 10 missiles. Use the number 10. The number is 10 missiles and destroy that dam. If they build more dams, we will use more missiles because we have no shortage of missiles to blow up those dams. And then it's responding to another question. He said that we know that India has sensitive installations, which in Pakistan and India, I guess, but particularly in Pakistan, because in Pakistan we do not use the word nuclear, we just say sensitive installations. So India has a sensitive installations in the eastern part of the country, and we can target those too. And if that happens, then it will blow up the entire region, because it will. I mean, he didn't use the word nuclear, but he indicated that that will lead to a nuclear war. So he was very careful. He didn't say those things in those terms. But if I were an Indian journalist, and if I hear that, I would also interpret it as as a nuclear threat. And he said that India was like a shining Mercedes. Pakistan is like a dumper truck full of concrete, and if the Mercedes hits the truck, who will be destroyed, blah blah, all sorts of things. But he still was like careful not to use the word threat or not use the word nuclear in his speech. Now, I don't know who Mr. Swami spoke to, and they must have told him. I'm not saying Mr. Swami is has fabricated these things. The thing is, as you and I are members of the Pakistani American community, and if you talk to those who are anti-government or who sympathize with the PTI or other nationalist forces, they would they would uh, they would exaggerate. As those who are pro-government, they would exaggerate too. That's why I think both in India and Pakistan. I said in my story 3 or 4 times that according to the participants, so we should have included a disclaimer, a disqualifier, saying that we had no direct access to this thing, and the entire reporting is based on second-hand information given by the participants who are not trained in the profession of journalism, so they do not really necessarily have to be. They are under no obligation to be accurate. You see, I mean, they
Yeah.
were just sharing their thoughts.
That's true, absolutely true. And that should be the basic principle
Mm.
adherent to the ethical journalism. But to be fair to Praveen, he did say in his vlog that, and he made it quite clear that there was no journalist there. The print had no direct access to it, but he's basing his story on the extensive notes taken by uh, 8 to 10 participants. He said 8 to 10 participants, and they shared their notes
Now,
with him. There were
let,
no
let me
audios.
stop you there. They told him that they were taking extensive notes. Okay, he didn't
Yeah,
know.
they were taking notes.
What others told me, and I don't want to name him because
Yeah.
he's a common friend of ours.
Hmm.
He said that nobody was allowed to take notes. Nobody
Yeah,
was.
I was wondering that because I have been part of these when I was in Pakistan. I was being part of these when, Army chief is, whenever this kind of high security event is there, you are not. So Praveen actually said that in his story that there's no audio or visual because mobile phones were not allowed in that event. Now,
Not
I
only that,
know, I
I
know
was not there.
that.
I was not there in this meeting, but I attended the first briefing. They made it a point to visit every table, and they took away pens and papers too.
Yeah, so that's how I wanted to say that it's whenever there are no mobiles, there are no pen and paper as well. You cannot take notes. So
Mm.
all some of the participants, what they are telling to Indian journalists, especially to my friend Praveen, he's a very credible, a very thorough journalist otherwise. But I think in this he aired a bit because totally relying on the memory of some people who are biased against. And now I must tell our
No,
audience as well.
bias or not, I mean, they are under no obligation to say it as they heard it. They didn't.
Yeah,
You see,
they are.
in the first meeting, I took out my pen and papers, and somebody wanted to take it away. So a senior diplomat stopped him, and then he came to me and said, "What's up? Please don't make us do that. You're not allowed to take notes. Please give me your pen and papers," which I
Ah,
did.
yeah, so that happens. That's a normal, usual practice. Whenever in high
Mm,
security events, I am
mm,
also witness. I have gone through that in Pakistan. We had to surrender everything, even our smartwatches. Smartwatch was not allowed in these. So there is no way that anything could be recorded verbatim.
And you know how divided the Pakistani community here is.
Yeah. And Asim Munir is the pet peeve of these, some of the PTI supporters not
Well,
some,
we
actually all of
cannot
them.
even, you would not like to mention the type of cartoons
Yeah.
they carry at PTI meetings of him, you
Yeah.
know, and
So relying
the,
on them is
mm,
probably not the best decision a journalist should make.
mm, mm.
Yeah.
Because he's not aware, he's not living here, he does not know the Pakistani American community, how divided it is that people actually end up fighting with each other at wedding receptions. And I have seen people walking out of dinners and wedding receptions after fighting over Imran Khan and PTI.
Yeah. So what else did you ask what was served as food?
No, I did not, because but
Because Praveen
somebody
has
told me that
told
it.
in his vlog, Praveen has reported on what was served as well.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the food was obviously it must have been from one of the Pakistani restaurants, because I
Yeah.
didn't really feel the need to, because Praveen's report changed, and I also wanted to do the type of piece that I did for the first meeting, where I had mentioned that the food came from some very good restaurant, but it was not enough, because after the field marshal left, a lot of people just walked in and they ate all the food and all those things I mentioned in the first report, which I don't know if some of it Don did not publish, some of it did. But in this thing, because of Praveen's report, the whole thing was focused on the nuclear issue.
Yeah.
So I didn't really
That's very
get the chance right.
important, a very, very important thing to report that you have just done. But I also wanted to check if you came to know
But
of any remarks.
what do you think of Babar Ghori's presence? I mean, are they really rehabilitating MQM? I mean, if this nuclear issue had not been, stirred up like the way it did, uh, uh, I mean, we would be talking about Babar Ghori and his presence, because that is also a big news. Are they sort of rehabilitating MQM?
And it is also, I mean, significant that Babar Gauri is not just from the perspective of those who invited him, but Babar Gauri's decision to be
To
there as
go
well,
there
you
and
know.
to say to me
So
that, what do you say? I said my position. He said my position is the same as ISPR's.
yeah. Oh,
That's
wow.
very significant.
Oh,
That is very
understandable.
significant.
But I think this is a topic for another episode, and we should do a full episode on that. But
Mhm.
coming back to this India thing, did you know of any remarks made by Field Marshal Asim Munir on responding to the claims made by this last week, India's air chief, that six Pakistan's fighter jets were downed by India?
I think he did he did say something that could be seen as a response to that, because he did say it about how India is not acknowledging and instead making all these claims. He did say something about that. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so there we are. Thank you very much. And with that, we come close to we come to the close of
I
this.
mean, sorry, let me just add this.
Mhm.
I also respect Praveen Swami as a journalist, and I'm not saying that he did it on purpose and everything.
Yeah,
He probably did so because, number one, because he wanted to get the story, and number two, because he was not aware of the situation within the Pakistani community, how divided it is, and how people, I mean, you and I, we deal with it all the time, how people cook up things
yeah.
to make the other person look bad.
No, actually, Anwar Sahab, because he's a great friend and I admire him for his journalism. He actually is very much aware of how divided Pakistani community is. But I think any journalist who gets the same story from 8 people, so he decided to just go ahead with that.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah.
He should have, but he should have made it a little more clear that
Yeah, clearer,
that we.
exactly.
Uh,
Totally. So, thank you very much once
thank
again,
you,
Prasad, and we hope that you will keep gracing us with your presence in our next
thank
episodes.
you. I
And
would
this
love to.
episode on MQM, this is very interesting topic that you and I would really be following up and take a rain check on that. So as viewers and as journalists, our job is to separate what's on the record from what is alleged, as Anwar Saab has very aptly said, especially when it comes to security and nuclear issues. I mean, that's too serious to be messed around. Without transparency from Pakistan's military about what's was actually said in Tampa, there is no official, I must remind, there is no official transcript that has been released.
And another thing, if you can, try to find out, he visited two cities. In one of the cities, he met the US military leadership. In another, he met political leadership. So try to find out which other city did he go to, which other city did he visit.
That is a good assignment that you have given me, and we will do it together. I'm sure
Okay.
we'll do it together,
Thank
and
you. Thank
we
you.
will bring our viewers up to speed on that as well. So, as I was saying, without restraint from Indian media, and frankly, with due respect to so many respectable people in Indian media, I would still say that lately Indian media has proven again and again that anything sourced from Indian media should not be trusted. That is
It's not
my
just the Indian media. Is it just I worked for an American news agency for 14 years, and after one or two mistakes I made, they sent me sort of a printed paper, and they said, just stick it, put it on your table, or stick it somewhere on your wall. And it said in capital letters, never trust an Indian source about Pakistan and a Pakistani source about India.
about India. That's true. That is actually, thank you very much for making that correction. That is
Okay.
absolutely true. That Pakistani media about India and Indian media about Pakistan, never to be trusted. Never, never to be trusted. Unfortunately, we do not, our journalists, even the credible,
We get carried away. We get carried away.
we
Both of
just
us.
get carried away. And we have seen this in after the May conflict, during that conflict and after that, so many of Pakistani anchors, very respectable otherwise, they keep churning that factory of lies and fake news, and same happens in India about Pakistan, keeps happening. So in the absence of this kind of verified courts, officially credible reports, credible sourced credibly, the space for sober fact-based dialogues shrinks even further. But we'll keep following this story, and if the official transcript of General Asim Munir's Tampa remarks ever emerges, we'll bring it to you here. We will hold Anwar Iqbal Saab responsible for that if he doesn't come to our next show. If you found this breakdown useful, please subscribe, share the episode among your networks, among your friends, and tell us what is in the pinned comments. We will pin the comments. Do you think diaspora speeches by military leaders should be made public in full? And what do you think about the kind of journalism that has come to fore after this speech? This is Unrivaled. I'm Marvi Sirmed. Have a good night.